My name is Campbell. I'm aged 69-year-old, and my best part of my lifetime was spent underground in the pits of Durham. I left school in Easter 1963. I started on the pit head at Fishburn Colliery when I was 15-year-old. I spent 16 weeks at Fishburn on the pit head, and I went from there to Tursdale Colliery to do my underground training. I spent 13 weeks at Tursdale. We were to have a week in school, then a week underground, learning all the different kinds of rope haulers there was, and learning how to yoke ponies to put the harness on, and the limbers and traces and whatsoever. And after that 13 weeks was up, I went back to my own colliery at Fishburn, and I went underground. And I was on timber leading and pony putting, with pulling stone away from a set of men that was driving the roadway with a pony. And then when I turned 18-year-old, I went for my coal face training, and I did all the operations there was on the coal face, was pulling and drawing, hand filling, canch work and coal cutting. And after that did my face, qualified my coal face training. I went on to a double hand filling unit where we were filling coal with a shovel on a 2'6" seam, and you were setting timber every yard apart to hold the roof up. And then I got the opportunity to go and work alongside my father at Fishburn in the main East Loco haulage road, driving that forward. It was a solid stone tunnel, and we were setting 15 by 10 arch girders, drilling and blasting 7-foot holes, and then filling out with mechanical shovels. And everything was all operated by compressed air, and the noise was absolutely horrendous. But we made some good money on the project. And that's when money was money. We were lifting 60 and 70 pound a week, and that was going back to about 1968. We made some real damn good money. And I stopped on development work right up till Fishburn. Then we were transferred to East Etton Colliery. I went straight on to development work there again, driving the main roadways and making loading points, setting 18-foot girders on 12-foot legs to build a loading point. And I stopped on that job all the way through until the closure of East Etton Colliery in 1983. Then we were transferred to a colliery called Vane Tempest at Seaham Harbour, where I automatically went straight back on to development work again underground, and worked there until the closure of the colliery. I had exactly 30 years service in with the National Coal Board, and I did not regret one moment of it. I worked with some damn good lads. We made some damn good money, because down the pit, when you were a set of men, one man would never see another man struggle. He was there to help him all the way, and that's what comradeship was all about. And that's what the pit was all about, comradeship. It was the same with the colliery villages. The atmosphere was absolutely tremendous. Anyone bad in the street, everybody was there to help. Anybody decorating, everybody was there to help. Or anybody did a day's baking, it was all shared out. Part mince pies, corned beef pies, you know, the lot. And everybody flung together. It was a very close-knit community and a very friendly atmosphere. And it was the same when you went into the workman's club. Everybody knew everybody, and everybody was everybody's friend. And that was what the spirit of the mining communities were. Now, when I first left school in 1963, I was bred and born in Chiltern. There was a colliery in every village. There was Chiltern Colliery, Leesonthorne Colliery, Dean and Chapter, Mainsworth, Boburn, Tursdale, Trimden Grange, Deffield, Trimlin, there was collieries in every village when I first left school. And when you went to the Durham big meeting in July, all the banners told you that they used to parade up the street. It was a magnificent sight to see, and a magnificent set of comrades. You couldn't wish to work with anybody better than the miners. Why, gardening.
Gardening was a big...
Yeah, it was a big thing.
And was it like community, like allotments?
Yeah, allotments, council allotments. A lot of people had hens, geese, whatever, you know, and they used to sell their eggs for maybe 50 pence a pack. And then there was also the leg growers there for the leg shows. There was a lot of comradeship there amongst them men. But like I said, everyone flunked together. Everybody.
And how do you feel that the community's changed since the mines obviously closed down?
Yes, the mine, I think it has, yes. There's not the comradeship there now what they used to be. You know, there's a lot of different people moved into the area that's had nothing to do with the mining communities. Nothing whatsoever. And their way of life is a long way different to what I have been used to in my lifetime. You can get good and bad. I've worked in water absolutely bucketing in on top of you. I've worked under bad road conditions, but under bad road conditions it was a matter of using your common sense and look to what you're doing. It was your own safety, plus it was your own comrade's safety as well. And that's what you had to look at. Your safety and everyone else's.
And you mentioned that your father worked in the pits. Who else in your family?
Well, my oldest brother, he worked alongside my father at the same colliery, Fishburn. He worked with him 10 years, and then they come in with this automatic machine to extract coal, and he put his name down for that, and he went on to that job. Then my brother Billy, he was there at Fishburn for a while. He was a belt fitter. My other brother John worked at Chilton Colliery, and when they closed the same at Chilton Colliery, he was transferred to Silksmith, which he didn't like the travel and he didn't stop in the pits much longer after that. Then there's myself, I had 30 years in service. Then my younger brother, he had about 5 years and he packed in because it just not was his cup of tea. He didn't like it. So there was 8 of us in family, and there's only obviously my sister, she hasn't worked at the pit, and my brother Eric hasn't worked at the pit, and my youngest brother hasn't worked at the pit. The rest of us all did.
And how did you find people's attitudes were to the people who didn't like working down the pits? Were they just the same, or was there a little
everybody was the same, you know. Everybody was everybody's friend. You know, there was very little animosity. Everybody was everybody's friend.
Brilliant.
And that's what life is all about. Well, after the pits closed, I was unemployed for about 6 months. And then there was a scheme came up with Sedgefield Borough Council. They used to send a newspaper out called The Inform. And there was a piece of reading in there where they wanted people to volunteer to train up in security, all of the jobs. Anyway, I phoned Sedgefield Borough Council up, and I had to go for an interview at the Central Depot, Chilton. And I had to see 2 men called Mr. Eddie Close and Eric Anderson. And they interviewed me and asked me what had been my previous employment. I told them I'd been a miner for 30 years and I fancied the job as security. Now, to understand, this was only an 11-month training course. So Mr. Anderson says to me, he says, you know, Mr. Campbell, he says, if you get accepted on this training course, you will be supplied with a uniform. I said, yes. And he said, would like to present yourself in a very smart order. I said, do you see anything wrong with my dress now, Mr. Anderson? He said, certainly not. He said, you're a very smart man. I said, that is the way I present myself for work. And at the end of 11 months, I qualified for my MVQ, City and Guilds, in security. And we got made full time with the Councillor's security. And I worked with Sedgefield Borough Council for 16 years until my health got the better of us and I had to pack in work through ill health.
Right, and did that ill health stem from working in the mines with obviously all the...
Well, I had osteoarthritis in my knees, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to have 2 knee joint replacements. Plus I had an accident with my ankle before that. I had 2 broken bones in my ankle and I had to undergo a bad operation on it. 5-hour operation.
Wow. Could you just describe the times what it was like at the end of the pits when all the pits were closing down? What was that like in the community, and what was the like general feeling and things?
My feeling personally, I was devastated. Mm-hmm. It was a way of life I knew and I loved, and I think quite a lot of men was devastated because the collieries had closed, and that's the only way I could put it. But myself, I was absolutely devastated. I was 21-year-old when I moved to Fillyhill because I got a colliery house with a bath in. And I lived in a colliery house at Chilton before that, and we only had an old tin bath to get bathed in. We had no hot water, all we had was a water heater. And to turn that water heater on, going back then, the electric bill at the end of the quarter could possibly be about £30, which then was a lot of money. And that was why I decided to move to Fillyhill into a colliery house at Dean Bank, where I had a back boiler in the fire and I had a bathroom to get a bath in.
And have you been in Ferryhill since then?
I've lived in Fillyhill ever since.
How's Ferryhill changed?
Dean Bank's changed a lot since he pulled a lot of the houses down and cleaned it up a bit. But Dean Bank, when I first moved there, like I said, everybody was everybody's friend. You welcome in anybody's house, you know. And that's what life was all about.
Yeah.
Well, when the water broke in at Fishburn Colliery.
Could you describe that day, please?
We were driving a roadway. We were taking it down a gradient 1 in 10, and we were using Holman Silver 3's drill machines to drill with compressed air, but the water infused. And the water was running over our welly tops, and I looked round, I looked up this bank that we were drift we were driving, and looked, there was a stream of water coming down. And I said to the lad I was working with, Bob Cornish at the time, there must be a pipe range burst or something up the top of that drift. Anyway, I went in and there was a woman come running in called Stevie Salisbury. And we had a big electric iron core shovel in this drift that we used to load the stone out with. He said, it was all electrically operated. He says, get that iron core shovel up to the top as sharp as you can. What's happened? He says, the water's broken up the Harvey seam. They've hit the limestone strata and it's broke it and it's come in. And we were down about 300 yards of this drift, 15 by 10 arch girders were putting in, and by the time we got the iron core shovel to the top, the drift was absolutely full of water, and it was run down the local road nearly 18 inches deep, and there was one big panic to rush turbine pumps in to control it, and it took quite a bit of time for that water to be controlled.
Right. It's obviously it was a very dangerous profession working in the mines. It was
they put the frighteners up as
yeah, definitely. Because obviously you've got the danger of water flooding the mine, but you've also got the danger of the fire damp and the colder spell that causing explosions, which of course is a very difficult thing to manage.
Well, as for the fire damp, we also call it methane.
Mm-hmm.
It was always in the roof, that.
Yeah.
But before you blasted any walls at all, it was always tested around with a gas detector, to make sure the air was clear of methane. Now methane, they said you couldn't smell it, but if you got your head in it, you saw body colours, and it used to put you down on the bottom.
Wow.
Now there was another gas called black damp. It would come from old workings. If you fell down in that, you would choke. It used to lie on the bottom. There was no air in it whatsoever. If you tested for that with an oil lamp, one of them, load it down slowly, your lamp would go out.
Right.
But methane was just the opposite. You used to put a testing flame on your lamp, wave your lamp slowly up to the roof, and you had a very small testing flame on your lamp, and if methane was there, that flame would rise, and you could measure percentage, say about 1%, 2% of methane. Then you had to divert your ventilation into the roof to get it away altogether. Well, I've been to Beamish on a couple of occasions, and it is very interesting.
What do you mean by interesting? What was your thoughts on Beamish?
It's a magnificent layout. It's absolutely marvellous. That's what I think of it. Now that public house that's in Beamish village, called the Sun Inn, that used to be constructed at the top of Pongat Street in Bishop Auckland.
Right.
And my granddad, my mother's father, was landlord of that. Now next door to that, there used to be a police station. And they took that poor part, brick by brick, timber by timber, and reassembled it at Beamish. I think it's absolutely a marvellous achievement of what they've done, and thanks goes to every people that's been involved in that project.
Yeah.
It is an absolutely outstanding music. Well, I think so, yes. And I would like to say the youngsters of today be educated of what the county was built on. The county was built on coal. Somewhere along the line, their parents or relatives have been miners, you know, and I'd like the youngsters today to be educated that way. To say, why, my father, my great-granddad was a miner, and I'm very proud of him being a miner. Helped to produce coal, you know, to fuel industry and keep the houses warm. When I left school, before I left school, I said to my dad, I says, will you put my name down for an interview at Fishburn Colliery? He says, you're not going down the pit. Why do you want to go down the pit? Well, I says, you there, oh, Colin's there, oh, Billy's there, oh, John's working at the pit. I said, I want to follow suit. He says, you'd be better off going in the army or the navy, somewhere like that. Now, behind his back, I walked to Chiltern Colliery to see the train officer at Chiltern Colliery for an interview. This was behind my father's back. And I went for an interview at Chiltern Colliery, and I come home. I never said nothing to my mother or my dad, anybody. 2 days later, my dad come in, he says, oh, he says, you've got to go through to Fishburn in the morning for an interview. Oh, I says, thank you, Dad. That's great. But when I come back home, there was a letter on the mantelpiece. It was a little brown coloured envelope with NCB stamped on the corner of it. My mum says to me, there's a letter there for you from the coal board. And when I'd opened it up, I'd already gotten a job at Chiltern and all. I says, for God's sake, don't tell me father will kill us. And he never got to know about that yet. And I decided to go to Fishburn Colliery, where my family was. Well, my dad, just after the war, he came back from the war, he worked in children's shops, and then he decided to go back to the pit. And he started Fishburn Colliery, at Chiltern Colliery. He worked with a man called Paddy McGill, and that's where the history of tunnel work came, through Chiltern Colliery. They drove the loco drift from Chiltern to Dean and Chapter. It was dropped from both ends. And I can always remember him saying, when they hold on, it was bound centre and bound grade. And they asked them, did they want to go to Leysingthorne to bring the drift from Leysingthorne to Chiltern? Because there was Chiltern, Leysingthorne, Chiltern and Dean Chapter was all combined underground. All the coal that was produced from the ground came to Dean and Chapter to be brought to the surface. And what they refused to go, they decided to go to Fishburn for the big changeover to Fishburn.
Right.
And they drove that loco drift practically from the shaft at Fishburn Colliery.
Right, and were they all connected, was it by the Harvey seam? They were all connected in the Harvey seam, weren't they?
Well, at Fishburn Colliery, you had the Harvey, the Busty and the Brockwell. There was 3 seams at Fishburn. The Harvey was the main seam because it was a very high quality coking coal.
Yeah.
And they couldn't produce enough of it. Then there was the Brockwell coal, but it was a very ashy type of coal. There wasn't much goodness in it, so to speak. And I don't think the Busty coal was very much better neither. But the Harvey seam at Fishburn was a very high quality coking coal, and they couldn't produce enough of it at the time. When we were doing our underground training at Turslow, they took us to Dean and Chapter. There was 8 of us, and we had an instructor with us. They took us to Dean and Chapter. We were supplied with a lamp and a couple of the tokens. To get in the cage, we went down the shaft. That was the first time I saw a locomotive underground. It was at Dean and Chapter. And we went round this massive loop where the skip was, where they used to wind coal to surface for the skip. They were bigger than what the cages were, and they could hold more than what a cage could. We saw that. Then we came back out, and the man riding train was waiting. And we got into this, each carriage could hold 24 men. And we sat next to this little old bloke. He was chewing baccy. He had no teeth in, and his chin was bouncing off his nose. And he was telling us the story that he lived at Leysingthorne. He come to Dean and Chapter, went down the pit, and went back to Leysingthorne again underground. I never forgot that. No. I never will. And it was a really interesting visit. But that was the first time I saw a locomotive underground, was at Dean and Chapter, until I went back to my own pit at Fishburn Colliery. It advanced a lot, a lot. You had plough faces, and then they got what they called trepanners in. They could cut just more coal than what a plough could take off. And the mechanisation just improved onwards over the years in the pits. There was me and 2 lads from Chiltern. One lad was called Sparky Race, the other lad was called Baz Richardson, and myself. We all had a pony each. And the one I had was called Silver. He was pure white. Now we used to have a salvage deputy and a salvage workman. They used to stand in a refuge hole on the side, and they used to chalk the walking sticks with white chalk. And if you went galloping past on your pony, you're going to bat across the back. Now this particular day it happened to me. And when I got to the stables, I took the pony's gears off him, put him in his stall. These 2 people come out, Javi Greaves they call him, and Billy Slee. And Javi Greaves would never swear. He says, right, you 3 flickers, you got the office. What for, Javi? There's been riding the flicking Galloway out. I haven't been on the Galloway, Javi. There has. Have a look at the coat. Sure enough, there was a white chalk mark across the back of my coat. And the colliery manager then was called Mr. Kent Keir. and they took us up to his office. Now then, Campbell, been caught riding the pony out. No, Mr. K. Mr. K says you're a bloody liar. I said, I'm not, Mr. K, I'm telling you the truth. But what they let the cat out the bag, had a pair of black trousers on, and the inside of my trousers leg was covered in white horse hairs. You know, what's all them horse hairs on inside my trousers? Give us a fine boat, Mr. K. That's what let the cat out of the bag.
And was that quite a serious offence? How did they take
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
So you got a fine. What did you get fined, if you don't mind me
I
asking?
think it was 10 shilling.
Oh wow.
Got half a crown away, took off our pay.
Oh, goodness me, goodness me. Is there any other stories like that?
Why, it used to happen quite regularly. In fact, we used to get lined up and have what we used to call the Fifth South line. We used to line up and we used to have a race out. And many times, 2 or 3 of the lads got pretty injured doing it. You know, hitting the heads off low girders and what have you. These are the things that used to happen. But I mean, going back then, we couldn't see any danger. We just did it and that was it. Which shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Yeah.
There was Wilkinson's service bus at first from Sedgefield. They had the contract for Fishburn. And then when they disbanded, the United Bus Company took over. And we used to go by United Bus. Straight into the baths, you got out your clean clothes, walked to the other side of the baths with your towel, your soap rack, your soap in your hand, got your pit clothes on. You went into the lamp cabin from there to pick your lamp up, your self-rescuer. Then you went down to the time office and you picked your tokens off the board. Then you went to the airlock to go down the pit. And what you had was 2 tokens. These were the actual ones I had at Green Tempest. The man that let you in the cage at the shaft top was called the banksman. You give him that. And then after you'd worked your shift, come back to service, you give the banksman that one. And that was to let the time office know you were down the pit and you were out the pit. I didn't really think about it.
No.
It was very warm, but very hot in places. But you never really thought about it. You just went in, did your work, did what you had to do, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, you never really thought about it.
Obviously it would have brought more dangers because... Well, did it bring more dangers with it being under the sea or not? Did you ever
We
find...
had a good cover of stone above you.
Yeah.
You had over 1,000 feet of stone above you.
Right. What was the deepest you went underground when you were working?
Green Tempest was the deepest.
Green Tempest.
Went down about 2,000 feet.
Wow. And what was it like working at that different depth? Will it have been hotter, less oxygen?
Yes, it was really hot. It was,
Yeah.
We had a good ventilation system as well. But it was still very warm. At the collieries, you know, you had 2 shafts. You had what you called your downcast shaft. That's where your fresh air went down. Now that fresh air used to circulate the pit and it used to come back through what we used to call return airways to the upcast shaft. That was a shaft that was all encased round.
Yeah.
Now there was a fan at the side of the shaft. You used to pull all that air right through the pit and expel it back out into the atmosphere again.
Right.
You're talking maybe about, that air would maybe circle about 10 miles, maybe more, underground, you know, right through the pit.
Yeah.
And it would come to the upcast shaft. And when you went to the upcast shaft, to go down the pit you went into an airlock. You could not open one airlock door without you shut the other, because the air pressure was that great. And when you went through the second door, all you could see at the shaft top was steam. What it actually was warm air mixing with the coal.
Right.
That's all it was. a lot of people used to put a lot of people off, frighten them.
Yeah.
Then you had the noise of the fan going, which was very noisy when you went in. And then the banksman would just wrap the cage to service and let you hit the cage.
Lighting in the mines now, they have massive, obviously, electric lights that pretty much illuminate it really well. You obviously had your miners' lamps, but did you still have electric lighting down there when you were working?
At Fishburn Colliery, when you come through the 3 airtight doors at the shaft bottom, it's where the man riding train used to stand. And every girder was set at 4 foot apart, and they were all slabbed round with concrete slabs, and they were all whitewashed. And all the way through the local road was all fluorescent lit.
Right.
And after you got off the train, that was when you had to use your cap lamp. You know, once you got into the darkness. Because when you were in the darkness down there, you were in the darkness. It was a wonderful day. It was a wonderful day out.
Yeah.
And I used to come back home after I'd been, and I was drunk. That was when friends got together. You had a good drink, you had an enjoyable day out.
Yeah.
Just used to come home, go to bed, and sleep it off.
And did you go every year?
Yes, I did.
So you were never working on the gala day?
I was never
working underground on the gala day? No. Was anybody?
They always made it a point to go to the big meeting.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. And I used to like to go to Harold Wilson, who was leader of the Labour Party at the time, give his speech off, and after that it was just a day out and that was it.
Yeah.
Go to the nearest club you could find, or the nearest pub, and that was it, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Oh, brilliant.
But the banners was absolutely beautiful, some of the banners when you saw them. Well, I've been a member of the Labour Party for a lot of years. And I put my name forward at the Labour Party meeting to go on the town council. And those of us that put our names forward were unopposed. And we automatically got on for the town council. And I've been a councillor ever since. A Labour councillor, Bernie Lamb. He was leader of the council at the time. And he approached me, it was the 4th year I was on the council. Kenny says, would you take over chairman at the next new council as mayor? Why, I was gobsmacked. As I don't really know Bernie, because I don't feel as if I've got enough experience to take that position on. Well, he says, think about it. Take it on. He says, we'll keep you right. So I decided to take the position. And everything just went ABC. I raised money for the charities, and everything was an absolute brilliant year. And I've been mayor 4 times for a year.
Yeah.
And I've got the medals there to prove it.
That's brilliant.